Hello, dear friends, all lovers of freedom all over the world. I greet you according to your time zone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Long live Mazen Nnamdi Kanu Ohamadike Biafra land. Long live United States of Biafra. Long live the good people of Biafra. My people, in this video, you will learn a lot. So do not be in a hurry. Tighten your seatbelts and watch this video. Don't forget to comment. Don't forget to share this video and also give us a thumbs up. Thank you and God bless you. Let's go.
The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has officially and publicly recognized Somaliland as a sovereign nation, like as a country, finally, after 30 years of running their own country themselves.
This video is for very high thinking mind, people of high esteem, people who can think out of the box, people who have retentive memory, people who follows world history, world events, people who know world current affairs. This is all about Biafra restoration. Biafra must be restored. It doesn't matter what anybody does. It must come to pass that there must be a nation called Biafra, a sovereign state. The name will not change. The geographical location will not change. The people will not change. That same Biafra that was declared in the 60s will be restored fully. It doesn't mean that we are going to carry arms or guns and bullets or armored cars and tankers. No, it's not going to be like that. The war has been fought and gone, but Biafra must be restored. In the world spiritual realm of affairs, it is already done. We are waiting for it to manifest in the physical form. As you can see, what happened in Somaliland, the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, have recognized the state of Somaliland. The next to follow is Biafra. And the recent event that happened in Vatican, Pope conducting service in Igbo language, that tells you all you need to know. These are proofs and evidence that Biafra must come to stay. And the Benjamin Netanyahu's attempt to speak Igbo language, that tells you a lot, that there are more to it than meet the eye. Don't forget, in his previous address to the United Nations, he mentioned Biafra. Okay, all these things are not coincidence. These are well-planned, strategic, things that must be done accordingly before Biafra fully will be restored. So, for Biafra to be restored is a done deal. All we are waiting is for that day that God has sanctioned. Now, take a look.
Peoples may be given true hope for the future.
Let us pray for the Jubilee pilgrims. And now in Igbo. Word of God, who became man for us, support those who in this holy year have asked for mercy and forgiveness, so that they be sustained on their journey through life.
Ka I were nọnyere ha na njem nke ndụ.
And now the liturgy of the Eucharist will commence with the entrance procession. Representatives of various nations and bringing the gifts, presenting the gifts.
Now, last night at St. Peter's Basilica, one of the prayer of the faithful intentions was read in Igbo language, a language spoken by millions, resonating in the spiritual center of the world, the Vatican City in Rome. An Igbo couple also carried the gifts during the Eucharistic procession, a visible sign that our voice is recognized on a global stage. But here is the twist again, because as usual, I always bring the twist. According to reports, UNESCO classified Igbo as a vulnerable or endangered language, meaning if we don't act now, it could fade from everyday life in future generations. A reality many of us feel but haven't faced head on. Now let that sink. We must do something concrete, serious, to protect and preserve the Igbo language. The Igbo language remains one of the most diverse, one of the most widely used, and one of the most versatile languages of the world. Here is also a video to show you how versatile the world thinks the Igbo language is. Watch this very video.
Name the better language. Thank you. French or Portuguese? French. Why so confident?
It can be sexy.
French or Dutch? Nah, French. French or English? French. What?
What's the better language?
English. French. French or Spanish?
Spanish, 100%.
This guy met one Latina, now he thinks he knows Spanish.
Rico, papa.
Spanish or Igbo?
Igbo.
For sure?
Igbo is one of the most unique languages across generations.
Igbo or Arabic?
We're gonna go Igbo.
Igbo or Russian?
The thing about Igbo is it sounds like a song. It sounds like music, even for those that don't know.
Igbo or Afrikaans?
Oh, that's the Dutch dialect?
Yeah, in South Africa.
Igbo.
Igbo or Hindi?
Shout out to all my Indians speaking Hindi right now. Okay, right now. Keep doing that. Keep spreading that word. Igbo is the best language in the world, though.
Lock it in, Igbo.
Auru em ginyanya.
Now, before anyone panics, no, UNESCO didn't literally say the Igbo language will magically disappear tomorrow. But the organization does warn and continues to warn that language is not actively spoken, taught, and passed on, especially in the home and diaspora, face the risk of gradual decline and loss. If children grow up only speaking English, if parents don't teach Igbo at home, if parents don't speak Igbo at home, if schools treat our language as optional, then that first-hand cultural memory begins to slip away. Recall that recently, the Minister of Education, Tunji Alausa, announced or released a memo to all schools insisting that the instructional language for all schools, beginning from nursery school to university, must be English. This puts the Igbo language and all other indigenous language into more danger. What can we do to preserve the Igbo language? Now, this isn't just academic. It is urgent, and families must take deliberate steps to preserve the Igbo language. Now, how does this matter, or why does it matter to you, who is a follower of Enu and a cultural forum? 1. Language is identity. Without Igbo, millions of stories, proverbs, and worldview would vanish. The Igbo language is key to preserving our proverbs, our idioms, our cultural practices. In fact, the heart and soul of Igbo culture, which is Oji, insists and demands that one knows how to speak the Igbo language. 2. Culture is expression. From music to rituals, language is a vessel through which all these cultural practices are passed on. 3. History doesn't live in textbooks. It lives in conversations, traditions, and the tongue we pass on. So here is what we as a community must do to preserve the Igbo language. 1. Speak Igbo in your home. 2. Teach it to your children. 3. Share Igbo stories and proverbs online. 4. Create content in Igbo language like this video. Na-asụ asụsụ Igbo. Well, asụsụ Igbo na ama atụtụ inu. As a parent myself, living in Nigeria, I know one of the major challenges that we face in trying to teach our children Igbo is that when you speak Igbo to them, they respond back in English. But I usually insist that you respond to me in my own very dialect of the Igbo language. I'm an asuni Igbo, in asuni Igbo. I'm an asuni asusu Bolo, asusu Enuane, in asuni Mo Igbo. I don't accept it in my home. Men and women, thankfully, my wife is from my hometown. I also know why asusu Igbo. I have 2 children. Ofu dem basho ano, ofu dem basho nabe. When you ask them their age in my language, they will tell you mbasho ano or mbasho nabe. I insist that they speak to me in Igbo language. That is one of the ways you can ensure from childhood that you instill the speaking of Igbo language to them as their first language. It is important that our children think and reason in the Igbo language. I want to share this with everyone that is watching this video. Our language is alive, but it needs us alive in it. It needs us to live it. It needs us to speak it. It needs us to communicate in it. Let the world hear our voice, not just in ceremonies like the Vatican's, but in everyday life and everyday conversation. At school, at home, in business, in art, in faith. Because when language thrives, culture thrives, and identity lives on. One of the biggest setbacks I have noticed as a parent or as somebody who promotes the speaking of Igbo language is parents, not even children. Parents who are full of excuses. If you ask a parent, why does your child not speak Igbo language? They say, hey, no, don't worry about my child. As you're saying that, my daughter and my son. So they hear everything you're saying, just that they cannot speak. What? If they can understand the language, what stops them from speaking? You say, I made a mistake. It's just that when they were small, we were using too much English. Now that you have the opportunity to correct it, people learn French, Spanish, Italian, German when they are already adults. It is usually difficult to learn the local language, especially your own community's version of the Igbo language when you are old, because there are no instructional materials. There are no textbooks. You are the textbook. Your parents did not need textbook to teach you the Igbo language. So please, parents, wake up. Wake up. I usually use this example for them. When I grow old, when I eventually die, it is this my children who will take me back to the village. How do I expect my children? As you call them. Okay, ndị mụ na ya wee n'ishezi ọjị were asụsụ Igbo gụọ ọjị wegosizi ọjị ihe ụmụnta asụ ole atakọnewe. Your children have to be vast, very, very proficient in your language. They are the ones who will return you home for burial when you eventually die. That is when the world will see how much of a parent you were, whether you were a good parent or you were just a disgrace to parenthood. Thank you so much. I hope this message makes you well and teaches you to start and turn a new leaf as we are entering into 2026 to ensure that your children and everyone around you learns the Igbo language, because it is the language of our ancestors. It is the language in which our cultural practices and traditions are preserved.
The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has officially and publicly recognized Somaliland as a sovereign nation, like as a country, finally, after 30 years of running their own country themselves. For those of you who don't know why many people are jubilating on Israeli Prime Minister recognizing Somaliland as a nation, let me tell you the full story. Stay tuned and don't forget to share this video. Share this video. This video needs to go viral. So Somaliland is like Biafra and Nigeria. In the year 1960, Somaliland and Somali, they are one nation. They are one. The difference is that Somaliland is a northern part of Somali, while this Somali is like a southern part of Somali, just like northern Nigeria and southern Nigeria. but they are being run by two people. British are running the northern Somali, which is now the Somaliland, while Italian are running the southern Somali. So they were one nation. They were one nation as Nigeria, like Somali. So in the year 1991, there's a political chaos, political disruption, ethnicity division, and Somaliland now decided to separate their own, like the way Biafra want to leave Nigeria. Somaliland separated, and you don't know what? They achieved progress, they achieved success. Since 1991, Somaliland created and produced their own parliament. They run their election, they have their own national anthem, they have their own flag, they have their own currency. They are running their nation, but they are not recognized by any law. Since 1991, over 30 years, they have been running their own nation, and no country, not even the international law, has ever recognized them as a nation. Including African country refused to recognize Somaliland. Do you know why? They said that because Somaliland now separated from Somali, it might create a great tension for other African countries, like the way Biafrans also want to leave Nigeria and create their own country. That it will create tension and encourage other secessionists or even other regions to break out from their country, and that is why they refuse to recognize Somaliland. This Somaliland is already a nation. They have their own currency, they have their own money, they have their own flag, they have their own national anthem, they have their own parliament, they conduct election. In fact, by international law, Somaliland has been ranked as one of the first nation that conducted free, fair, credible election. Everything was smooth, but by law, they are not recognized as a sovereign nation yet. Fast forward to 2025. Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is the first international leader to officially recognize Somaliland as a nation. Isn't this giving a hope to Biafra and all the secessionists in the world? Even though it took time, it took Somaliland years, over 30 years to get here. And the fight is not even over, because right now the US, not even the fellow African countries, have not even recognized them yet. It's only the Israel that recognize them, and hopefully other people might join. Because they have everything. They have their own parliament, they have their own currency, their own name, their own nation. It's just like they just separated from